What's up, guys? How's everyone doing today? Give me 1 second. I gotta send in. I'm actually sending Paulie a message. Melanage, guys. I announced in the Discord that Paulie and Tommy were gonna be on my live stream, my Saturday, your Friday. Paulie just told me he's actually, weird coincidence, gonna be in my hometown, Youngstown, Ohio, on Saturday with Boom Boom Mancini. So Paulie's gonna come on my live stream for the Barrios Ryan Garcia fight card, but I'm still gonna have Tommy Rendon on my show on Saturday. MVR Club, Youngstown, Ohio. I just got to send Paulie this link for my favorite restaurant in Youngstown. What are the chances, dude? He's gonna be in Youngstown. Mancini's flying him out for you gotta love boxing, man. The best sport in the world. Copy. Okay. And then we got a lot to talk about, guys. Click the link if you're not in the Discord. I just released my latest Stats Don't Lie video. It's a good one. Cain Sandoval. He's fighting. It's on the Zuffa boxing card versus Hammerhands. Julian Rodriguez. And all right, I'm all yours now. I had to send a message. What's up, Brandon? Guys, as you're tapping in, let me know where you're coming in from. We're in our wheelhouse now. It is my Wednesday early my Wednesday at 10 a.m. We got fights that start here in a couple days. We've already broken down. I broke down and I put up on our playlist the Stats Don't Lie video of my breakdown, prediction, and analysis of the Andy Cruz versus Raymond Morataya world title fight. If you haven't watched that, click that link. And then, like I said, I just uploaded the fight, the Zuffa fight between Hammerhands and Sugarcane. So I want to know who you guys are taking. We're gonna pull up the odds. I'm gonna let you guys shuffle in here. I got some coffee off camera, so I don't like drinking. I don't like people. I don't like drinking or eating on camera. So give me a second. 5 in the Shy, man. 5 p.m. in the Shy. I always tell people, man, I love Chicago for like 4 months out of the year. Chicago's a great city. I told you, I think we might have spoken about this, Brandon, that I grew up in Northeast Ohio, and my dad and I would drive from Youngstown in the summer to Chicago to watch Chicago White Sox games against Cleveland. This was before Cleveland got good. So this is when the White Sox would just pound us. I think Frank, what year did Frank come in? Frank was a rookie, I think, in 90. And so I would go see those Chicago White Sox teams from 90, 91, 92, 93. When the Indians, we had guys like Corey Snyder, Joe Carter, Pete O'Brien. We had playing shortstop Felix Fermin. And then it wasn't until the strike season, 93, 94, when we built Jacobs Field in Cleveland that we became good. But I used to go to Comiskey Park all the time, dude, and then we'd also go to the United Center to see Cavs Bulls games when Jordan was there. So I like Chicago. A couple months out of the year. You go to Chicago though in the winter, boy. Chicago beat that ass in the winter, boy. But then again, I'm from Youngstown, so it's the same weather. But Chicago, like when it's nice out, man, it's a nice city. Skeezy, my guy. Skeezy in the house. What's up? Skeezy's representing, I think, Perth. So you're 3 hours behind us. So it's 7 a.m. J Rock, I know, bro. How crazy is that those odds dropped? And I'm getting blamed for it again. J Rock dropped down big time. Think you're onto something, Johnny. He's had over 250 amateur fights with only 13 losses. Training. Yeah, dude. Skeezy, did you watch my Stats Don't Lie breakdown? It's not like I'm just throwing shit out of the wall and hoping it sticks. I think you guys who've been on my channel long enough know that I watch a lot of tape, and it's not just like because I grew up fighting and I fight and I coach boxing. It's it's not just the technique or the actual fights I research. Like I'm, the published author in me, the writer in me, the journalist in me, I'm looking at things like, you know, injury history, camp history. I'm looking at things. How heavy do these guys get out of camp? When did they turn pro? I'm looking at like all the things that, on the surface, the average person might not look at. And so the pushback I kept getting, and if you've already seen my Stats Don't Lie video of J Rock versus Cain, I apologize for the repetition, but you probably haven't. I just posted it an hour ago. I talk about the one piece of narrative that keeps getting pushed in front of us on why not to take Rodriguez was the fact that his inactivity. So last night I spent about 2 to 3 hours researching why was this guy so inactive, and I talk about this in my video. This is a guy who turned pro as a teenager in 2013. He's only 31. And in 2017, he tore his labrum, so he had to have his shoulder reconstructed. The labrum is a very important tendon. Uh, if you ever like look at an X-ray of a shoulder and you look at the mechanics of it, from the cartilage to the tendons to the ligaments, it's a very complex. It's one of those injuries. If you tear a shoulder, similar to a knee, it's really never the same. Now, he had that surgery in 2017, had to take some time off before that. And, they called him hammer hands, on the come up. This is a lifelong boxer. He had to change his style a bit, had to stop being a little bit, had to stop relying on his power so much and had to start relying more on, he's still a boxer puncher, but he had to start relying more on countering a bit off the back foot and then, letting his hands go while you're punching with you. So then he lost another year. He got shelved. Top Rank was his promoter. We know about the history with fighters and their promoters. So he lost a lot of time through contract disputes with Arum. And then the pandemic happens. And then he gets COVID and loses more time. So since 2020, he's only fought 6 times. Hasn't been the most active. 2020, and then you have Cain Sandoval, who only turned pro in 2021. So Sandoval is 23 years old. And, he fought 4 times in 2025. Sandoval is the more active guy. And he's coming off that October knockout of Rodrigo. And we saw J-Rod. Last time we saw Rodriguez was in June against Avius Griffin at welterweight at 147. Avius is a big guy at 147. And it was a back and forth fight in which Julian Rodriguez was dropped. And he battled back in a very close fight on the scorecards. I think 2 of the judge had it Avius' way. The other judge had it for Julian, and Julian stopped him late. It just goes to show you the grit and the willingness and determination of Julian Rodriguez to be in that position. Hasn't fought since. You watch his media, you watch the footage you can find on him, you follow both guys' Instagrams. You know that Cain is a product of Freddie Roach, comes from Wild Card Boxing. Julian is a New Jersey East Coast kid, trains with a lot of good fighters. You look at his Instagram, great sparring partners. And so this is an interesting matchup. One's 23, one's 31. I feel the time is now. If you want to get Cain Sandoval, like if you're a huge Cain Sandoval fan and you like that Mexican style front foot, pressure forward, volume, that's who you're going to expect him to drown and smother and really disrupt the game plan of Julian. But Rodriguez has fought guys like that before. Sandoval isn't the quickest guy. You'd be far-fetched to even call him fast twitch. He's slower, flat-footed, marauding sort of style. So I think the time is now. I talked about this in my video. I said Sandoval's on the way up. J-Rod is a finished product in his prime. I think a 23-year-old is ripe for the pickings. And so when we look at the odds and we get plus money on J-Rod, that's my dog of the week. So I'm going to live and die on that hill. I think it's great value for your sharp bettors, for the ones who like finding dogs, but not just picking a dog with no path to victory. I think there's a path to victory. I think Rodriguez is the faster guy, the more experienced guy. I think he has better hands. I think his power, it's still there. And he doesn't look like a shot fighter to me. He looks sharp, motivated, hungry. I like what I saw in sort of the behind-the-scenes fight camp videos I've watched. And so it's a fun fight. I mean, it could go either way. I'm taking J-Rod as my dog of the week. Can you see Teo upset draw? What's up, Tenio? I appreciate you, brother. I see all the boys in here with the stars. I just want to reiterate those are JSB insiders. If you guys don't have a star next to your name and you want one, simply subscribe here on YouTube. It's only a couple bucks a month. It gets you more access to myself on all my social medias. A lot of the boys follow me on Insta. If you guys do, you know that I'm easily accessible all through Fight Week. And more importantly, you become part of our growing community. We are a professional sports community. It's not just boxing. So our Discord, we're at 350 JSB insiders. And to find out more, just click the link that's pinned. I can look, man. Teofimo Lopez is world class. Teofimo Lopez has been mixing it up with Hall of Famers and world champions since he was in his early 20s. He's the champion. He's the bigger guy. I would be disrespectful if I said there's no chance that he beats Shakur. There's a chance he could beat Shakur. We're gonna see how good Shakur really is too. There could be a draw. Look, I'm both guys. I rate both guys highly. Both guys are world champions, and it's very rare where you see the guy who's coming down. I mean, Shakur is something no one's talking about. You know damn well I'm going to talk about it because I'm a numbers guy. Shakur is trying to be a 4-division world champion. Not many men have done that. He won at 26, he won at 30, he won at 35, and now this fight's at 40. And I didn't think he would go up to 40 so quick. So yeah, I'm glad they're fighting. I'm a fan of both guys. Just because I pick one to beat the other doesn't mean I'm hating. From my position, doing what I do, being a fan of the sport, a fighter in the sport as a kid, a guy who still trains, a guy who coaches fighters, a guy who teaches boxing the fundamentals. I got to pick one of them. You know what I mean? Nobody's 100% with where they pick. So it would be awfully disrespectful to say that Teo didn't have a chance. Dude, Teo could win this fight. Teo could overwhelm him. Teo could jump to a hot start. Teo could use his athleticism. If Teo's on his P's and Q's and is sharp as hell and, gets in Shakur's head, I think psychology is going to be a factor. I do feel the hill is steeper in a 12-round fight called boxing, not knockout. The hill is steeper for Teo. I am putting my money on Shakur, but I like both guys. I'm a fan of both guys. Wow, Skeezy. No shit. Shout out to you. Did you really pick J-Rod over Avius? I freaking didn't, man. I didn't. Fucking lost that fight. Give me a second. I drink my coffee off camera. That's a good pick, man. And I watched it again about 24 hours ago. That win is because Avius was written off because people didn't value J-Rod. You know how boxing is, guys. It's so fickle. People from the content creator side of things comes and goes, and then people come out of nowhere. Fighters, the same thing. Fighters will come out of nowhere. We really didn't know too much about Avius before the fight. He gets signed to MVP. We saw 17-0. We saw that he trained with Bomac, sparring with Bud Crawford, and this was his opportunity. And then when he gets in a close fight in which two judges had him up late, he gets stopped. People just said impulsively, "Oh, he's a scrub." They didn't say, "Damn, that was Julian Rodriguez. That's that hammer hands." They didn't say, initially they said, "Oh," and then you see months pass. Avius gets another opportunity, and he looked good, man. And I think that further sells my point on the fact that Avius was who I thought he was. He just sometimes in a real dogfight, man, experience matters, dude. So, and Avius is a big welterweight. You know what I mean? This fight on BoxRec is listed at 140. But the fight on Tapology says 147. And then shout out to TJ Chilltown Boxing. Chilltown said that one of Dana White's and Zuffa Boxing's goals is to get rid of the in-between weight classes. So he said that, jump from 35 to 40 might just be, it might be listed at welterweight at 47, even though Cain has never fought at 47. But then again, he hasn't made 40. He's weighed in at 142. He's weighed in at 143. That's another thing that I don't like about Sandoval at 23 is the discipline on the scales, the physicality, the body composition. Sometimes in camp he looks fit, but then on the scales he looks sort of, he looks kind of, what's an adjective that isn't disrespectful? He just looks kind of loose sometimes. And at 23, man, the only thing I could but some guys just carry extra body fat, body composition. You can't always judge a guy on that. Me being a strength coach, sometimes I do too much. So, but it's interesting. Good pick on picking Avius. You're a gold star because you're an OG, baby. Which Curtis? Curtis Fitzsimmons boxing. I got Rodriguez to win probably by knockout. Ooh, let's bring up the odds real quick. I got the chat's getting there, so we're going between 20 and 30. I'm gonna get to everyone's comments. Could you like this video? Could you subscribe? Let me know where you're tapping in from. Let me I just want to pull up Curtis's odds on what that knockout says. Because generally, depending on what your bankroll is and how big your unit is in terms of how much you're betting, your average bet, when I take a dog, I don't usually get sexy on method of victory because we're already in plus money. I've been burned in the past taking a dog and then picking a method of victory and then getting burned on that when the dog itself won, but I picked stoppage when they won on points, sort of thing. So me personally, it's not my style, but when you hit on things like this, I mean the return is ridiculous. So let's check that out for Curtis. This is a fun card too, boys. Not big names on the card. Like, but if you're just getting into boxing, or if you're a true blue, it's an opportunity for us to watch guys that we might not have watched before and get to know some guys that are part of Zuffa Boxing. Which the one thing we could say about Dana is he knows how to grow a brand. So we might be watching a guy for the first time that you might be seeing for the next decade. All right, so J Rod, wow, those odds are crashing. J Rod last night was $4.80. He's now $3.20. And I'm not getting a method of victory. We'll revisit this tip. We'll revisit this closer we get to Friday. I'm sure it'll open up. There's some Twitter trolls who aren't too happy with me. There's some Twitter trolls who aren't happy with me, thinking that our little group sways betting odds. So they're crying right now. El Guy, what's up, Brandon? T87 in chat. That's awesome. Chicago's terrible in the winter for sure. The Bears had us on fire for a while, though. Yeah, man. They look, dude, say what you will about your quarterback, but that kid makes plays, man. You know, some of the two weeks in a row, he made two passes. And I played quarterback, obviously not at the high. I played from the time, though, I was 7 until I was 18. And just playing at any level, you understand that when you're watching NFL quarterbacks making backyard plays like that made those two passes he made 2 weeks ago in the touchdown pass that sent him into OT yesterday. That makes what Pat Mahomes carved out a Hall of Fame career by doing these like sandlot plays, right? Those two passes that the kid from Chicago threw makes Pat Mahomes plays look kind of ordinary. So you guys have some good talent in Chicago, man. Many bright skies ahead. At least you're not a Cleveland Browns fan like me. Julian Rodriguez should get it done. Sandoval too easy to be hit and can't. Chris B, let's hope. Rodriguez opened my eyes after that fight he had with Avius Griffin, so I did some research on Rodriguez. He's a dog, and I believe he's used to spar Manny Pacquiao. Yeah. And you know, Cain Sandoval has links too, though, because Sandoval's coached by Freddie Roach and Wildcard. which we know the links with Pacquiao. But Rodriguez is just older. You know, he's been around for a while. He had a good amateur career. He's a pro's pro. He's really well respected in the game. And if you watch my breakdown, this is Sandoval's step up. This is Cain's step up. Rodriguez has fought guys like Cain before. I got Julian at plus 260 odds. Yeah, you got to jump on him now. Mosby, I picked last night. Mosby, man, I picked J-Rod at plus 600 against Avius. I'm not going to start down him now. Damn, you and Skeezy were on it, dude. Were you guys? I know that when I don't even know if I was live streaming then because they fought in June. I started live streaming in July, but I was late to the game, man. I figured. I think I got honey dicked by the knockout to win ratio, and I made a casual bet, and J-Rod made me a believer. Pablo Boxing, appreciate the super chat, mate. Thanks for your hard work, Johnny. Not only for your picks, but for creating a boxing community. Don't get mad for haters, low blow. Beautiful, man. Thank you so much for the encouragement, for the support, for the super chat. I really appreciate you, and I'm glad that you're aware of what we're doing here. This isn't my goal was never to be a degenerate and hide behind an AI generated image on Twitter and call myself an expert. I'm pretty much as vulnerable as one could get on a social media platform, live streaming, inviting you guys into my house. You know what I mean? We're building a community here. And so guys like Pablo Boxing is why I do this. You understand that. And the longer the boys are on our side, you understand what we're doing. It's not, I'm not going to stand here on a platform and try to be divisive and talk trash about people, but it's sometimes hard to turn the other way when you know, it's the fight game, dude. You know, it's tough for me. I'm getting better at not paying attention to the haters. I picked him versus Avius, but on points, 12-1. That's what I mean, bro. Curtis, it's just your style, though. I'm sure you have numerous. Examples when your method of victory nailed it on the underdog. See, for me, and this is the cool part of our community is we get to learn from each other. Because I never told anybody that I'm an expert at this. We're just sharing thought. You know, we're sharing research. So my betting style, is I like to get sexy with the method of victory if it's chalk, if it's a favorite. You know what I mean? And then but if I'm already taking a dog, I guess that's my mindset. I'm happy with the return money. I'm happy with the plus money. Recently, like Shushu's last fight, I always use Shushu Carrington's last fight because I was in a debate online on the method of victory when it took place. I was defending Carrington at plus 600 on points. Everybody, and he was a big favorite. He was like $1.10. And everybody was like, dude, it's a lock. Shushu by decision or Shushu by knockout at like plus 110. I was like, I don't know, man. Anyway, it hit. And so that kind of started me on my path of like, if I'm going to go method of victory, I'm going to take more risks on the favorite. And then if I'm taking a dog, I'm just going to take the dog by himself and go all in on that. What's up, Yayo? Rush, Rush. I can never say your name without singing the Rush, the Yayo song. I'm practicing we're going to the Super Bowl ready to go spam it after Bronco. Yayo, man, that's you in the Discord. We up. In the NFL Discord, I know you're a Denver fan. You were going to get drinks after we hit, but we were up big, and then you posted in the Discord at halftime, and I was like, bro, I think what were the Broncos were with 24-6 or something, or 23-0 or something, and then you posted we up, and then they're down 24-23. I'm like, fuck, dude, we're cursed, and then they ended up pulling through. So congrats on your win. You're a Denver guy. What's his name? Stidham, the backup. There's a storyline there. The kid from Denver, we know Bo Nix broke his ankle. The kid from Denver was passed up in the draft by the Patriots. So there is a storyline there if you want to get romantic about it. I think Denver is a team. It takes a great quarterback to get you far and to win a Super Bowl, but it is a team sport. So I think they could rally around their backup. I'm sure the coach will have a great game plan. And New England, you got a young kid playing quarterback there. There's a lot of turnover in the league the last few years, which I like. A lot of new young energy. I think I'm going Sandoval. Look, I'm friends with Cain. Cain and I follow each other on Instagram. He knows that I'm not even gonna tell you what he messaged me, but like sometimes fighters like when people who do what I do pick against them because money will come in the other way, and then they'll bet on themselves. I'm not saying he's doing that. That's not what he told me. But in the past, I've known fighters on lesser cards who kind of get motivated on the fact that people are saying to bet against them, and they'll bet the other way. But Cain, dude, 23 years old, undefeated, comes from a great camp, doesn't know how to lose, fun style, Mexican style. I just think, though, that it might be too soon at 23. There isn't much on the resume that I like. There isn't many adjustments that I've seen him have to make, and this is his step up. So it's strictly what does Nick from Breaking Bad say? A value play. It's a value play. Either guy could win. I'm not picking J-Rod because I don't like Cain. Dude, Cain Sandoval's a fun guy. I'm a fan of him. He's a favorite, But this is a value play. When we're talking about betting, and I said this in my Stats Don't Lie breakdown video, I could have easily broken down, Callum Walsh versus Carlos Ocampo, where Callum Walsh is a 5-1 favorite, and then I could pick the money line favorite chalk, and at the end of the video, I could tell you to put money on Callum, and then after the fight, Callum wins, and I could act like I'm the man because I picked a 5-1 favorite. But at this stage of the game, man, I actually have fun doing 50-50 fights. They're harder to pick. And I don't mind if I lose because I know how to deal with the haters. Read the comments section on the videos that I was wrong on. It's hilarious. I talked to the haters. I'm like, bro, if we win with Julian Rodriguez, nobody's going to come to my channel, no non-subscribers. The boys are going to say good hit, you guys. But no new subscribers are going to, or non-followers are going to come to my channel if Julian wins and say, good job, Johnny, you the man. What's going to happen is if Cain wins as the favorite and I pick the dog, read the comment. You don't know shit about boxing. You should just delete your channel. Like, I kind of enjoy that. I think it's comical to see how bent out of shape and pissed people get online hiding behind a computer, because I know damn well if we were in person, they wouldn't say the same thing to my face. So it's funny, dude. And I know what I'm signing up for. To put myself as vulnerable as I do every day like this, you guys know a lot about me, you know what I mean? For me to do that, come on, dude. I have to expect all the negative shit. It's all good. People talk shit about me because of my face. So that's why I changed my thumbnail. You got dudes on Twitter. Somebody on Gary's live stream. I hate Johnny's face and I hate his voice. I'm like, dude, these cats sound like ex-girlfriends of mine that I scorned, or a girl I hooked up with that I never called back. Like, who are these people? Freaking I hate his face. Like, bitch, you out here crazy? These cats out here, boy. Want to see how he pulls up on the scales. I'm a scale guy too, Boxing Booth. I'm a scale guy. Yeah, dude. Michelle Rodriguez, Olympian, Mexican, Robert Garcia. I think he's easy money. Adam Azim. I think Adam Azim is that dude. I think, man, Adam Azim is the dude. I think Adam Azim versus Dalton Smith is a hell of a fight. I think this is easy money for Adam Azim. I'm a fan of Adam Azim. Can't miss Sandoval with a right hand. So growing up boxing, I was always the smallest guy. I'm talking like when I was 7 years old, 7, 8, 9, 10. Excuse me. So I had to get really good and comfortable. I was always like, the young people would call me a jab merchant. I got really good at using my lead hand and using my movement to evade power, especially if it's orthodox versus orthodox guys. I was really good at circling away from power, managing distance with my feet, and using my jab. And so over time, though, my dad would always say, Johnny, let go of your right hand. Let go of your right hand. Throw your right hand. Throw your right hand. So it got to the point where, like, it was a psychological thing for me, especially in non-fights. If I was in, like, schoolyard fights or street fights, I would never throw my right hand with fear of hurting people. I would win fights in the streets with just a jab, right? And then I would be like, you don't know how to fight, stop fighting. I don't want to, I don't want to get in trouble for hurting you. But when you have a guy at the pro level who keeps constantly getting hit with right hands, think about the right hand Dalton Smith was landing against Subriel. Holy shit, dude. Subriel Matias, though his whole career thought that he could just take right hands. And then he was able to take them first round, second round, third round, until he couldn't, dude. Dalton Smith's right hand, boy, thing of beauty, man. That how quick every time Subriel would get off, Dalton would have that receipt, pop, and it was those two, the ending sequence that landed consecutively. You could get caught with one, and maybe you could get caught with it a couple times throughout a couple rounds, but it's when they come consecutively, when a sharp right hand comes, boom, and then another one, boom, and you don't have time to recover. I could see that happening with Julian Rodriguez against Cain Sandoval. That's why I like J-Rod just on the money line, because I could see Rodriguez stopping him. You think, 100%. I'm glad you brought this up. So Zuffa Boxing, they announced today, they're going to sign Usyk too, by the way. If you guys aren't following me on Insta, Johnny Stofko on Insta, and just message me or comment and say, hey, Johnny, it's so-and-so from your YouTube channel, and I'll follow you back. I use my Instagram story as sort of a news ticker. Now, they're, I guess, this close from signing Usyk. Because people equate Dana White with the UFC, rightfully so, and how the philosophy of business with the UFC operates. UFC champs weren't fighting Bellator champs. UFC champs weren't fighting, PFL or one championship champs. It was UFC or bust, right? Because it's a newer sport. It's only been around since '93, MMA. So they were able to do that. They announced that, no, it's just Zuffa is just another promotional company, another sanctioning body. There will be a Zuffa belt, there'll be a WBC belt, there'll be an IBF belt still. And so the fighters coming there, of course, they're going to be unifying. And so they announced that because there was some confusion from the fans. And so it's a good point you brought up. I'm glad you did that. Does Andy Cruz, Shushu, Bakram, Zayas, Keyshawn, Carlos, Owen? Now, I have Andy Cruz, Yayo. I have Shushu. I don't have Bakram or Desilev. I'm taking I would, if you like Bakram, take him. But I'm using, just full transparency here, that fight's in a few weeks. I'm using the Bakram Murtazaev and Josh Kelly fight as my underdog of the week. So I'm putting that fight on a separate by itself ticket, and I'm taking Josh Kelly at plus money. So I like Andy Cruz, I like Shushu, I like Xander, I like Keyshawn, I like Adames. I love that. And Bakram is such a favorite, you won't lose money. But then again, this is your bet. Take Bakram. He's the champion. He's the favorite. He's undefeated. He's never been stopped. Joshua Kelly's the one who, he has one draw against Ray Robinson. He got stopped against David Avenetian a couple years ago. He's made a lot of adjustments since then. I followed both guys' careers. I've said it all year. I'm not a guy to think. I don't think Murtazaev is the boogeyman. I don't think he's the boogeyman. I think he's susceptible to body shots. I think his durability is in question, but same thing with Kelly. You got to question his cardio. You got to question his gas tank. You got to question his efficiency. But Kelly's style, mate, very unique. If you're gonna roll the dice on a dog, man, why not roll it on Josh Kelly? So I like Kelly's speed. I like his jab. I like his unorthodox approach to a guy who just moves kind of like this. So we'll see. It's a fun fight. Let's see what the odds look like. I'm politicking with this chicken, wondering if I'm a creeper. Little hood rap bitch from 25th, named Tamika coming through. Like I do, getting my bark on. I don't know if you could hear the, we got our 24/7 live stream in the background. Guys, go to Boxing News Now. YouTube's only 24/7 live betting live stream with odds and boxing breaking news. Boxing news now. I got my AI boy, who's a software engineer, designed the whole behind the scenes stuff here, and then I picked the music. Got some jazz. I love jazz. Yo. Wanna jack me out, see what's up. Talking to Shorty makes me wanna do something nice. Looking at that ass makes me wanna do something tonight. And I know right when I see right. And Shorty look like she tight and she bite. Okay, look. Look, plus 320, boys. Kelly on points. See, I'm not gonna get too sexy. I've been on Kelly since this fight got announced. I'm going against my dad here. I'm friends with Josh. I'm bent with my heart here too. I'll tell you guys right off jump. He's a buddy of mine. I've been waiting for Josh to have a world title shot for years. So full transparency. I'm my dad's like, Johnny, never bet with your heart, always bet with your wallet. I'll take the L on the chin with this one. I'm taking Josh. I want to see my boy become a world champion. So I'm going with PBK. Let's go. I'm thinking Josh Kelly might nick that. Dude, I think it's all going to come together. I think that Olympic aura, all of the people who've been behind Kelly his entire career, everybody who's seen his potential, sometimes in boxing, guys, on one specific night, it all comes together. And I think that's going to happen. And why not? But why not? Like, I think that's why you got to love our sport. What's up, boxing? Rodrigo knocking Sando about on the footage, and Dono was catching too. Yeah, until we caught them hands. Yeah, and these aren't sort of world beaters. So Boxing Booth talking about and this is a Mexican style though, guys. This is a guy who's going to keep his head here. He's going to come right after you. He's going to cut the ring in half. He's going to put you in a corner. He's going to be there to get hit. He's going to be relying on his power. I like the grown man in this one. The more, dude, sometimes, guys, when we're taking underdogs on the channel and the more we get closer to fight night, I'll sometimes almost talk myself out of the bet. It's opposite here, boys. I'm talking myself into this one even more. So I'm all in. My feet are dug in. I'm standing on business. I'm on this hill. Let's do it. El Gallo Negro, I do also want to say I appreciate what you do. Oh, dude, Gary is a beast, boys. Like, 3D boxing is my boy, dude. I don't know why people want to. The beef has never been with G. All you have to do is shake. Yeah. The haters make me laugh, though, dude, because they change. There's like a few of them. There's a handful of them, and they stick together. So the haters, hats off to you guys. I appreciate you sticking together, but you're not going to deter me. Like, you should see the comments. Like, I hate your face. I hate your voice. Why don't you just delete your YouTube channel? I was like, bitch, I ain't going nowhere. You're going to have to see my big ass. Look, I'm 44 in April. I don't have gray hair yet, but I know the gray hair is coming. So for all you haters, you're going to have to see my big, ugly ass head when this goes gray. Because I ain't going nowhere, baby. We're just getting started, boo-boo. Every time you post your face. I know, dude. Did you see my new... Check out the new photo, guys. Check out... So check out just the photo for this video. I'm clean shaved, and I have the jawline, boy. And I'm like, and you get that, boy? They're going to hate that one, boy. Magic Kush, my guy. Does the Backroom Kelly fight go the distance? I don't know. I know. I could. Look, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna keep my logic here because I'm taking the dog. Earlier in the live, I told you my methodology. Whenever I dog hunt, I don't get sexy on the method of victory. So I'm not playing that. But I don't think it does. I don't think it goes the distance. Money Meach. What is Johnny Haney? What does that even mean? What does Johnny Haney mean? Lock is not a word I like to use, but what Frankie B, you know we're boys. We can kick it. Lock is not a word I like to use, but who are you most confident with? Yeah, let's think of a new word for lock. Who are we most confident with for this week? Let's have a look. What's another good adjective we could use for lock? A lock. Is this bet a lock? I guess in that context, it would be a noun, a person, place, or thing. So is this bet safe? I don't even think bets are safe either. Okay, I'm gonna pull up the list and we'll do this together. It's a good question because some of the boys in our group are big time betters. And like think of how muscles we had a dude in our Discord unknown. There's certain betters who will find like 2 to 3 to 4 locks and go heavy chalk betters, right? They like betting the chalk, which is fine. But even then some chalk loses. Chalk doesn't always win. So here are the fights. You know what? I think Michelle Rodriguez is. I've already taped this. So if we're gonna say the safest bet, I think Michelle Rodriguez versus Deanda. Rodriguez is that dude, boy. Have you guys taped this? Rodriguez is a Mexican Olympian, trains with Robert Garcia. I think Austin Deanda is gonna be a little over his head, and I don't like saying it, but this is probably the one that I would go heavy on if your bankroll allows it. It's only a 16% return though. Breaking Bad, Josh Kelly versus David Ava was on Kelly until I ran the. Yeah, well, That's that 2020 Kelly boy. That he was up. He was up until he wasn't. And this is you gotta take in consideration David Avanesian too. Avanesian's only losses were to Terrence Crawford and Jerron Ennis. Avanesian, I put David Avanesian. He never won a world title, but world level. Great, older now, long in the tooth, mid to late 30s. Ava Nation, really classy boxer, man. People sleep on that on him, and they've always slept on Ava just because he loses to Bud and Jerron. But he's a crafty, skilled, very seasoned fighter, and I think that was more of a fight IQ thing. That was more of an experience thing. He got big brothered, and then he got stopped. But then you started seeing adjustments. You've seen adjustments in Kelly's game since the Troy Williamson fight. You know, Flavio Bea, it wasn't a household name. He stopped him in the first. I'll always remember that Flavio Bea fight because that was the first method of victory I went heavy on. We got him at $1.90 by knockout, and he ended it early. I was so stoked. I was like, oh, it's always good when you go heavy on the knockout and it happens quick. You know, unlike what was it, Bam's last fight against Puma, where he took Puma took Bam into the 9th or the 10th, and we're all fucking sweating. Pardon my French. When they happen early, dude, we're like, we could just chill. Bro, people sleeping on. I'm a Duarte fan. Bro, people sleeping on my boy Oscar Duarte. That's all I have to say. I'll sit back and enjoy your show, Playboy. Who said something about Oscar? Did I miss something? I think Oscar Duarte is legit. Does he? Let's see if he had. Does he have anything coming up? Dude, Duarte. I talked about Duarte on my show 2 days ago about the Kenny Sims fight. Um, I love how Duarte rebounded from the Ryan Garcia loss. Yeah, nothing in the books yet. He fought twice. The Miguel Medueno knockout was nice. The Kenny Sims Jr. majority decision, which those cards were crazy. Come on. 115, 113, 114, 114, 116 to 112. It was and I took Sims Jr. in that fight, but the scorecard should have been more like 116, 112, 117, 111 maybe. I thought he impressed me with how he handled that style. Not an easy style to look good against either. I'm a Duarte fan. I like Duarte. Every time Oscar fights, I feature him. Oh shit, Pacino. Ain't nobody sleeping on Duarte. When was the last time he got a knockdown? You think the Sims fight was closer? Really? I thought rewatched it when I watched it live. Pacino. I agree with you because all my money was on Kenny. And when I just rewatched it 2 nights ago, and it was almost like Sims was like kind of stuck in this one gear. Kenny Sims frustrates me because he has this bag of skills, and sometimes he's just there's like a hesitation with letting all those skills out. It's the same thing that I always compare it to Richardson Hitchens before Richardson fought George. A lot of people, and I picked Hitchens by knockout because I was banking on the fact that this performance was going to be the performance where Hitchens was going to let all these skills out. And he did. That freaking world class jab, that speed, his controlling range. And sometimes it just takes a viral performance for a guy to be confident and believe in himself and comfortable enough to flow like that. And this is why boxing is such a tough sport and such a beautiful sport all in once, because it's not always the best boxer doesn't always win. Sometimes the best boxer is holding himself back mentally. Sometimes the best boxer, it comes down to who's more free in there, who's more loose in there, who believes in their skill set more. The guy who believes in their skill set more might beat a guy who has better skills. If the guy who has better skills is hesitant and not believing in himself. So this is why camps matter, coaches matter, the proper coaching connection matters. It's the best sport in the world. So I became dude, Duarte beating Sims, man, that's a good win. That fight was in Chicago, in Kenny's backyard. I scored it again 116 to 112. I remember when they were reading it out and one of the judges had a draw. I'm like, oh no. I thought we were gonna be up because I picked Kenny to win. But Pacino, man, you got some good takes. One loss doesn't define a fighter. Kelly is not the same guy he was then. Go watch Bachman versus Kulke. You'll see. Bro, and you know what, to your point, too, is that everybody goes to Josh Kelly versus a Venetian, and they just look at Kelly being stopped. The smart dudes will know who David A. Venetian is. You'll then, if you're going to use the Ava fight against Josh, you need to watch Ava's resume. Watch how Ava fights. Ava's only looked bad. He didn't even look bad. Ava's only gotten stopped against Terrence Crawford and Jaron Ennis, right? He was boxing with both guys. He got those fights for a reason. He was moving with both guys too. And Bachram wiping the floor with Tim Tszyu does not impress me. Jack Holke is a little bit better than we give him credit for. But the Ray Robinson draw, this is another fighter people just, they look at Josh Kelly, you know, he had all that shine from the Olympics. This was like early days of Instagram. His highlight reels were going viral because he does all the reflex style, which I actually like. I don't mind. I like reflex fighters. I like Prince Nassim Ahmed. I was a big fan of Emmanuel Augustus. You know, Roy Jones, to his own style, had that to him. So like, it's an art. Boxing is a martial art. You know what I'm saying? So he goes to Philly, his first time ever fighting in America. Ray Robinson is a legit Philly tough pro. You know, knows it. Shout out to Ray. He's fighting Michael Fox coming up. So Ray Robinson at 37, 38 years old, still trying to do the damn thing. Ray Robinson Jr. So he fights Josh Kelly to a draw. And everybody just says Kelly's a bum. He couldn't go to Philly. He couldn't go to America and beat Ray Robinson Jr. Bro, Ray Robinson Jr. is a legit pro. That's a tough fight for a kid with under, I think Kelly had what, under 15 fights? So that was a tough matchup too. And then you got to take into consideration, you know, the promotional kind of errors. You know, he switches, he goes to Wasserman Boxing, he changes promotional companies, he couldn't get fights. And, you know, since the Avenation fight, I mean, Troy Williamson, we just saw, you know, Troy ain't dead yet either. What did Richard Pryor say? I ain't dead yet, motherfucker. You know what I mean? That's why you got to love boxing. So I think that Kelly's live in that fight. What's up, Sammy? Sam? Hey, boss, how's it going? Do you think the Jesse Hart upset Khalil Cole? Look, anything can happen. Jesse Hart is the dog here. Jesse Hart's a little bit older, 36 years old. I think with Khalil Cole, you watch both Gallegos fights. You could even watch the fight before the first Manny Gallegos fight. So if you want to watch Khalil Ko, who he really is, watch those three. Athletic, super athletic, speed, explosive. You watch the first Gallegos fight, and it's like, who is this guy? And he lost. And then after the fight, he came out, and his team said he wasn't well. He was like less than 70%. And then they give him the rematch. So they give him the rematch to Gallegos, and then you see him. You're like, who the hell is this kid? Looked totally different. It was like, oh shit. Every now and then, when camps come out and make a statement after a bad performance, they're not lying, because the Khalil Ko who fought Manny the second time, boy, that guy beats Jesse Hart. The jab. And I think that Jesse at 36 years old, mixed with a little, the inactivity, I don't think his resume, he never really was one of those guys who went international, has some good guys, but when he stepped up, things didn't go his way. I mean, big dog, I don't know your bankroll, but if you're, if you're doing entertainment betting, I mean, plus 400 for Jesse is not a bad play. Do I think he beats Khalil Ko? I don't think so. All I'm saying is, if that Khalil Ko is the same Khalil Ko who just fought Manny Gallegos, this guy handles Jesse Hart based off of energy. Like, watch those fights. All right, here are the current odds. Yeah, so like, coming from my perspective, me being as vulnerable as anyone could be doing this, I'm taking Khalil Ko. You know what I mean? But if I'm the guy on the couch who doesn't have social media and I love boxing and I'm looking for dogs, you would look at Jesse Hart's resume. I think he's what? He only has 3 losses, almost 40 pro fights, 36 years old, Philly guy. Why not sprinkle something on him? Who would ever know if you lose? Who would ever know if you're wrong except your bank account? I can't do that. You know what I mean? So I will never steer you astray from my true, authentic feeling of an outcome. Even like I said, the Kelly versus Murtazaleh fight, I'm going against my dad's advice and betting with my heart rather than my wallet. I'm telling you that. And with Khalil Ko, I think I think he's going to look good. I think we're going to start seeing that. What is he? 9-1, 10-1, 9-1 and 1 maybe. People in his camp think they have one, right? They think they have one. The draw, the loss, and then the get back. And I think that this one, we could see this, especially in that division. I respect you too, big dog. Guys, we don't have to agree with everything. Is this official? I went on the internet to look. Lirgo, I went on that damn internet to look shit, Bo. I couldn't find nothing official shit. I'll tell you what. I was on that damn Bayou boy with my Uncle Montgomery. We were looking for that damn officiating boy shit. I don't see one, Bo shit. Duarte. Duarte versus Hitchens. I used to live in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I used to play baseball down there when I was in my 20s. And on the weekends, we would work. Me and some of my teammates would work at a bar restaurant sort of thing. And there would be moments where we'd have to serve tables. So then we'd have to go up and talk to tables, get their drink order, etc. And we would fake country accents. So we're from the north. Hey, Bo. Hey, Bo. You a Yankee, Bo, ain't you, Bo? Shit. That's how they would talk to me. And then I would then, over time, develop my own country accent. And I would talk like that. Horrible. It's not, fucking weirdo. What? I was a freaking weirdo, dude. It's not even cool. The Duarte versus Hitchens matchup refers to an upcoming professional bout for the IBF super lightweight title, pitting champion Richardson Hitchens against Mexican challenger Oscar Duarte, scheduled for February 21st in Las Vegas, likely supporting Mario Barrios. No shit. How did this one just fly under the radar? That's a hell of a fight. Is that official? Look, I'm just going to say off the top, Duarte's style, if Africa, his boys call him Africa, If he's switched on and sharp like he was against George, I know they're different styles, kinda. Ooh, I think Duarte's tailor made for Hitchens to look good. I just want Hitchens needs to fight brave. Dude. I've been a fan of Richardson Hitchens for years. He was one of those guys who got slept on coming out of the amateurs. You know, a little bit older than the other guys, but his name would always get overlooked. But for me, being I always saw that jab. I was like, this fucking dude, man, his jab is beautiful, and his feet and how he manages distance and range. I was like, this kid is literally a dog. I want to see him in a dog fight. Like I want to see like the bravery. We need that in this era. We need these younger guys. Like I'm not seeing anybody to get hurt, but I think Oscar Duarte is gonna, I think, pull that out of him. So thank you for making me aware of that fight. Look, guys, pardon me if I didn't know. I live my life in boxing 1 week at a time. You guys know that. This is how we create content. You know what I mean? That just put a smile on my face. Duarte versus Hitchens, dude. Let's go. I'm just catching up to the comments. Yeah, yep. Code did have Rabdo, which is overtraining. He looked different. I'm keen to see Brandon Adams again. 100. That's another name, guys. This is what I was telling people. I go back. I have my own little group, my text group. There's like 3 of us, and some of the boys are sort of like torn on Zuffa boxing, and they're torn on Dana White getting back into boxing because he started off in Boston as a boxer. He was shit, and then he was a boxing promoter, and then he got run out of Boston by the mob, and that's how he ended up in Vegas in the early 2000s. So he boxing was his first love. I know guys who are hesitant on accepting Zuffa, and I'm like, bro, any new league is great for our sport. Any competition is great for anything. This is some free game from an entrepreneurial perspective, from a business perspective. If you guys, do what I do, you're a content creator. Don't compare yourself to other people's journey, but don't be deterred by the competition. Be inspired by competition. If somebody is doing something that is threatening your business, that should inspire you to do better. So when I heard he was getting into boxing, launching Zuffa, I was like, this is going to be exceptionally great for our sport. It's going to give fighters more opportunities. Guys like Brandon Adams, we want to see him active. Dude, what he put on Sergey Boacek, mate. Bro, we could list right now 25 fighters that are at this level but just haven't had opportunities because there aren't many cards for them to be fighting. What happened to this guy or this guy, or oh my god, yeah, that dude too. That sort of thing. Don't do that in Texas, you'll get accent. Yeah, I was 21, Rando. This would have been in 2003. You get accent checked. He's tough, man. He's tough. I'm a fan. Like, I can't wait to do tape on both of those guys. I want to see. So Pacino says he's gonna have to fight like Dalton did Matias. I see some parody here. Yeah, dude, I became a fan of Dalton Smith with his bravery. I didn't expect him to be that brave. That's how you can't be run, dude. Even though I lost my bet because I picked Matias, man, I was screaming at the TV in a good way. Like, I'm a freaking boxing head. Like, I'm not gonna get 100% of my picks right, but when I get them wrong, and the guy who loses, and the guy I was wrong on is a Dalton Smith character who performed like that. I want to see Dalton Smith versus Zim, though, baby. Let's get it. Yeah, Agarco's no easy pushover. Ishmael Davis lost. Yeah, we know Cayman Agarco. He's highly ranked. I think that's a good fight. I think it's a good matchup. Dude, Brandon Adams, man, legit. Shout out to Brandon Adams, guys. I got to run. I'll see you guys again soon.